All right. Call the meeting's order at 7 p.m. Roll call.
Lloyd Johnson, Council Livingston.
Chuck Smallwood.
Sylvia Henry.
Kurt Anderson.
For approval of the agenda, any additions or subtractions?
I make a motion to accept the agenda as written.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of minutes for our August 16th meeting.
I got 15 on mine.
Some of the packets had the wrong date on them, and we corrected them. I think you picked yours up before we got it corrected.
Which is the date?
August 16th.
It's all right, I can change it.
Gonna make a couple corrections and maybe a few mistakes.
Please, for an approval.
I make an approval of the minutes of August 16th, 2017.
Second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
New business, semi-tractors in the residential district discussion. I'm going to turn it over to the city planner.
Yep, Honorable Chair and Commission members, this is an item, the city has gotten a request for feedback from the Planning Commission. There was no formal application, there isn't a formal application for a zoning text amendment, but there was a question from a resident who wanted to address Planning Commission and ask for general feedback and discussion. It's not a votable or action item that you can take action on tonight. We don't have a formal public hearing on this. But based on the discussion tonight and the how the applicant wants to proceed, they could come back and make application to amend the zoning ordinance for a future time, and then it would be a public hearing. The discussion just was relating to restrictions on parking in the city's ordinance, specifically zoning code section 1019-3E, which restricts semi-tractors and trailers within the residential zoning district. So the current language in the ordinance says semi-tractor and semi-trailer parking. It says semi-tractor and semi-trailer shall not be permitted within residential zone districts except for the specific purpose of loading or unloading cargo or freight. And so that's the current state of the city's ordinance. There are no other provisions that would allow the parking of those types of vehicles. So with that, the Planning Commission can ask or talk to the resident and then provide general feedback. Again, we can't vote on this item or provide formal direction on how you would act, but just generally give feedback or direction pertaining to the issue. So.
Thank you. I guess I would ask Mr. Murphy if you could step to the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Jason Murphy, and I live at 107 Hill Street, back here, and I believe it's the second or third edition.
Yeah.
I'm the owner of the semi-tractor in question. I'm a single owner operator. I work locally. And I'm the only person I have available to do the maintenance and repairs of my tractor. And the only place I had to do that is my garage. And at first I wasn't aware of the ordinance. I've been aware of it for a little over a year now. I've been put in positions where I've been forced to work on it. And I don't know if it's better late than never, but I'm trying to find out what we can do to possibly modify the ordinance so that I can at least take the tractor to my home and park it in my driveway to work on it. Not park it on the street, not bring the trailer home, just the tractor. And I don't park it there on a daily basis. I have a place to park it. So, and what I see being the biggest issue with those that I've talked to or interacted with has been the weight issue on the streets, which I understand. I've been in the business for 21 years, I understand it. Most city streets are 5 ton per axle weight, which I'm with the tractor well within reason. the average high school bus weighs more than my tractor. And that has 2 axles and 4 less tires to disperse the weight. So in reading the ordinance, in my opinion, other than that it's there, I don't understand why it couldn't be modified. So that being a Montrose City resident, I can at least service and repair what I can repair. And we're not talking about changing a transmission or a rear axle, but an oil change or a flat tire or lights, you know, something where I can do it within a day's time, unless the dealer gives me the wrong part. But, I mean, for me, I have to operate 5 days a week. I mean, if I can push everything till a weekend, till a Saturday and a Sunday to do it, I prefer to do that. I don't like running 12 hours a day and then having the wrench on the tractor at night. It's not my favorite thing to do. That's what I'm looking for. And what I posted as far as a modification would be, you know, in my situation, I can prove that I live there and I can prove that I own the tractor. Because the last thing I want is somebody new coming in who is in the same situation that I'm in, but then has 3 or 4 buddies who own a tractor. Well, bring it over to my house, I can have a tractor. No, that doesn't apply. Don't use the privilege that you're given to use. So I'm here to discuss with whoever what options can be put out there, what can be talked about. I have to find out again I know that there's a $300 cost, but I'm still not understanding the $1,000 cost as far as the public hearing and stuff like that. But no, first time I've ever had to do this, and it's all new to me. I went around over the past year with city offices about it, received several notices, a couple of citation or fines from the city, but at the same time, it's been a learning process for me. So, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know what else you guys want to know.
I think that pretty much covers it.
Like I said, it's just the tractor. I don't own the trailer. I pull a trailer for somebody else. They have to service that, but the tractor is mine. So,
Yeah, as far as the fees, that's all administrative with City Hall. I'm not even familiar with them.
so I don't know what else needs to be discussed or where we go from here.
I guess that's what we need to know. I know we have one other person that wants to address. So thank you for your time coming in. And we've got Michelle Otto.
Want to say my name and address?
Yes, please.
Michelle Otto, 105 Garfield Avenue. I just want the commission to be aware of the several letters that the city has addressed to Mr. Murphy back in April. It started back April 29th of 2016. He was issued an ordinance violation stating what the ordinance codes were, that no semi-trailers or tractors were allowed in city property in residential areas. Back in July 1st, also another ordinance was issued to Mr. Murphy stating, again, the same thing, that if he failed to continue to park, he would be in violation and assessed a fine. July 11th, Mr. Murphy was also invited to come to, it says here in the letter that was given to him, I invite you to attend the meeting as the EDA will be discussing this topic at length of the semi-tractors. My knowledge, Mr. Murphy did not show up to that meeting. August 22nd of 2016, Mr. Murphy was given another letter in regards to this ordinance, stating that a fine would be addressed. But 4 violations already, we have not assessed a fine. We have offered for him to come to meetings, talk to planning and zoning, talk to council. October 4th of 2016, another letter was issued to Mr. Murphy that says you have failed to make the corrections which have now resulted in an administrative fine of $100. If you would like to appeal, you can request a hearing at the city council within 10 days of the issuance of this letter which would be September 14th of 2016. Mr. Murphy did not do that. October 17th of 2016, Mr. Murphy received another letter which says you have continually failed to make any corrections which have resulted in an administrative fine of another $100. The payment of the fine was due November 1st of 2016. If, again, you would like to appeal, you can address the city council, which would have then been by October 27th of 2016. Also in the letter, it says a new compliance date. Immediately, if you continue to not be in compliance with the city code, you could be guilty of a misdemeanor. Twice that was issued in 2 different letters. December 29th of 2016, Mr. Murphy received another letter. At the December 21st, 2016 Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously agreed that the code relating to the semi-tractors and trailers parking in the residential areas would remain the same, which meant that you guys were not going to change the ordinance. The city asked me to comply with this ordinance moving forward. Mr. Murphy was in compliance for a good 6-8 months, somewhere in there. But then something, I'm not sure what went on over the summer, to where he started parking his semi again in his lot. And then on August 14th, he did address the council. He was put on the council agenda to address this issue. At that time, we said, come please talk to planning and zoning, as it's something that they would need to be discussing if they were willing to change. And at that time, the city staff also stated that there would be a fine, addressed to him if he would like to change the ordinance. Also, at that time, Mr. Murphy was asked to not park his semi-tractor in his driveway and wait to talk to planning and zoning. Since that meeting, Mr. Murphy has parked his tractor roughly 3 times. Wright County has been called on him. And it is not done by the city. The city is not the people that are calling Mr. Murphy on his violations. It has been his neighbors. Mr. Murphy then continued to go to City Hall. Well, he sent his fiancée to City Hall to be put on this agenda. And in all of this, if there would have been, previously he had said that he had talked to City Council, which he had not. He had posted on social media that the city was not willing to work with him, and that no matter what he did, the city was not listening. And at that time, he had never come in and talked to the city. And then on social media, he had then put, and from what he gathered with the interactions that he's had with the members of the city, they think they're big government and can pass the buck out to whoever they want. So because your property butts up to the streets where they may need repair, they're going to float the bill to somebody else. Mr. Murphy then puts another post out on social media that says, my fiance went into the city office today to make sure that I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission, which would have been, I'm unsure of the date. The gal behind the counter took it upon herself to give my fiance her opinion of that she didn't think that they would change the ordinance. What was the explanation to me was the city council meeting was at a discussed meeting that needed to take place and some possible resolutions decided upon, and they were going to take a city vote. He then states, I certainly didn't ask for an opinion. My fiance didn't ask for any opinion as to any of this because I was on the phone with my fiance. As far as I am concerned, when it comes to the city of Montrose notifying its residents, all specific subjects, topics, or issues those in charge are failing miserably. So therefore, he is ripping our city staff. He then states on his other post that I think specific individuals that work for the city need to be put under a microscope in regards to how they handle city issues that affect city residents. So in multiple incidences, Mr. Murphy has ripped the city council, the city staff, and only one time in the last year and a half has he even addressed anybody from the city. So as of yesterday, again, Mr. Murphy decided to park his tractor in his driveway. To where I was notified upon this, Mr. Murphy has stated that he parks over at Fitzsimmons, which is fine. He's okay to do that. But then he I happened to be coming down First Street and saw Mr. Murphy driving down First Street. So I did make a U-turn, went down to First Street, noticed that he was parked there. Didn't confront him, decided to turn around, go the opposite direction on First Street, just leave it as it was because I knew we'd be having this meeting today. Mr. Murphy then decided to follow me through town, up into Casey's, and confront me at the Casey's gas station. At that time, I just continued to ask him to come and talk to planning and zoning to fix this ordinance, but as the city ordinance states, it is what it is. Same thing we told him. And if he would have just listened, and I understand he's got things to do, things to repair, but investigating, no city around here allows semi-tractors or trailers, except for Waverly and Howard Lake. All of the surrounding towns do not allow it. So if Mr. Murphy if he would have done things, approached things maybe differently, not with our city staff, our city council, kind of obeyed the rules, and discussing this with him, when I showed him all of these letters, he denied receiving them. He said maybe one, maybe two. I reminded him again yesterday. His fiance says that they maybe received one. He said 1 or 2. A little bit later, he said maybe 4 or 5. So I just wanted the commission to be aware of the history of this, and then it is up to you guys to make the decision as to what you want to do. Thank you.
I didn't come up here to argue about what took place yesterday, but to clarify that in approaching Miss Otto, I saw her in the rearview mirror of my tractor. I watched her follow me. So I had no problem. I was hoping she was going to come to the house. I got to the house. I got out. I asked my fiance for the keys to our personal vehicle and asked her to accompany me. I got in my personal vehicle, and as I looked over my left shoulder to make sure the street was clear to back out of my driveway, because I thought she went home, I seen her sitting a few houses up. Okay. She went around the west side of Hill Street for whatever reason. I live on the east side, 4 houses. And so I decided to drive up there and ask her if she was going to come talk to me or what the deal was. She proceeded to use a resident's driveway to turn around and drive back around the way she came in. So I followed thinking she was going to go home, but she didn't. She went to Casey's. I followed her up to Casey's. She got out of her vehicle. I asked her, why didn't you come up to the house? You want to talk to me? You want to follow me? Fine. I have no problem with that. No issues. I had a flat tire to repair because I had to work today. As soon as I repaired the tire, the tractor was gone. I don't deny that. As far as all the letters she rattled off, I don't recall there being that many. As far as who I spoke with, I spent all of last summer on and off the phone with Maggie, trying to clarify the ordinance. As far as ripping the city, or the city council rather, I have my issues. I attended the city council meeting. The only one I'm familiar with on this board is Lloyd, and that's just because you were at the council meeting I was at. That's the only reason I recognize you. Otherwise, before that, I had no idea who you were or who was on any board. It's been frustrating. As far as what changed, last summer, I didn't own the tractor. I rented it. In December, after I got my settlement from my semi-accident in 2015, I bought the tractor because the owner put me in a position basically telling me, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to take it from you. I've got a family to feed, I've got a house to take care of, and bills to pay. This year, the tractor's mine, all mine. The only one to work on it is me. The only place I have is my house. Last summer, as soon as I found out about the ordinance, the trailer never came back to the house, never once. I brought the tractor a couple times, I believe, to wash it and fix some wiring or some lights. So you want to come up here and make me look like the bad guy? Go for it. Well, I'm upset. As far as what went on today on Facebook or the community page, I wasn't happy with any of that. It was very frustrating. I was trying to work. So, like I said, I made the mistake of not dealing with it appropriately last year. I'm trying to get it taken care of now. If we can't find a compromise that will help me and help other guys in my position, well, I get no choice but to try and get my ducks in a row and leave town. So that's where I sit. And if I was ripping anybody on the council, it was you. But that's only because of what I watched at the city council meeting. I wasn't impressed. Was it right? Maybe not, I don't know. But like I said, I'm new to all this. First time I ever bought a house, we moved in 2013. Nobody ever told me to check city ordinances. So, I'm between a hard and a rock place and trying to keep my head above water. That's what I can tell you. I've made mistakes, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to get everything lined up now so everybody can be happy.
Just one question. Have you talked to Richard about having, I know he's got areas down there to work on trucks.
I approached a little parking there. I can work on a tractor there. As far as use of electricity or water, I haven't talked to him about that. And fixing some of the more simple stuff over there, that's easy enough. Like with the flat tire, I needed my impact tools to get the tires on.
Yeah.
You know, and the air compressor to air it up once the new tire was on the rim, you know. Usually I'm up and gone before anybody shows up, and they're gone before I get back. He's been nice enough. I mean, when I approached him, I explained to him my problem, and I told him that I didn't expect it to be for free, and I asked him what he wanted per week, per month, and he said, we'll talk about it later. We haven't talked about it yet. He's seen me there, he's waved, still haven't talked about it. He seems like the kind of guy who, he understands the position I'm in, so he's not worrying about it. And I haven't wanted to push and lose my ability to park there.
Yeah, I was just looking at that as an option.
Yeah, yep, and I've done what I can over there, you know, but as far as loading up tools in the Yukon and taking them over there and then hauling them back, or if I need a tool that I didn't think I'd need and have to run back to the house and get it, it all takes time, and sometimes I don't have that time,
Yeah.
you know.
I understand. My grandfather, I've got uncles, my dad was a trucker for a while.
You know, and at this point, for this year, I've stuck over 15,000 into that truck, mainly because the end of May, the transmission went out, and that was $8,300 by itself.
Yeah.
Luckily, people I work for, they let me continue to work and work the bill off. If I'd had to pay for it, I'd have been done. So, I mean, I didn't want to come in here and argue about what's taking place over the last couple of days, last couple of months, and find out if there's a way to modify the ordinance, but keep it within reason so that nobody can abuse it. Because that's the last thing I want. The last thing I would want is to have it modified, and then a year from now, somebody calls me because somebody new came in, and they've got a tractor parked in their driveway and two sitting on the street.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody in my position, and there's another gentleman in here in town who lives out on the corner of 12 and 7th. You know, he finds a place to park the trailer, and the only place he has to do the maintenance is his house. And it's tough. It's, you know, the fuel's going back up, so things are getting tougher again. I don't know why, but they are, so. And I'm not looking to leave Montrose. I grew up in Delano. So,
Okay. Thank you.
I was just. So the same one is, yeah, it's the same. What is the likelihood that the ordinance would be abused if we did change it? That's the problem. Being able to see down the road
Yeah,
to avoid the pitfalls of.
well, and that's part of the reason that this is in place in the first place, is it started out being abused, so we had to change it, or previous, had to change it to put restrictions on it. Because I looked through old paperwork, the last time we went over this, years ago. Obviously premature road failure, the noise, because no trucker works from 9 in the morning till 5 at night.
Right.
The tank that goes by my house about 4:30. Impaired sight on the streets, and the liquid and fluid runoff and stuff. They were the 4 big deals. Well, you can't get the whole thing in the garage.
Well, you can't even get the thing in the garage.
You can get the rear axles in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use your mics.
Yes, Michelle.
Thank you.
How
Well,
long
it's open
is the
discussion.
tractor trailer?
That
I mean,
means-
how long is the tractor?
my tractor is, I believe, just over 22 feet long. The wheelbase, I believe, is 265 inches is what it's considered.
And is there any on the rear that hangs out onto the street?
When I put it in my driveway, I back the rear axles in the garage. So that the entire tractor is on my driveway, and I believe the hood and the front bumper clear the sidewalk area by a good 5 to 6 feet.
Thank you. Now we got that.
I guess we're just, what are your thoughts about modifying it?
Anybody else?
Well, this isn't a public hearing, then to sign it to be on the agenda for this evening. If we continue, then we'd have to have a public hearing.
But if we modify it, we don't.
If we decide to continue on with it, then we have to have a public hearing. Tonight's just discussion whether we're going to move forward with it or keep the ordinance as it is. That's what I was asking, what your thoughts were.
If I were in the position of owning a tractor, I might have the same concerns, but my thought is, if you make it possible for one person, then it has to be possible and legal for everyone.
Yeah.
And because this has obviously been a slippery slope, and the owner has not dealt with it correctly, and we don't have much becomes a slippery slope where if you were to allow or allot a certain amount of time in a 24-hour period during sunshine, during the day, not to disturb neighbors, then the next person will double that, and unless it's being enforced, there will be tractors that will remain for twice as long or a week or infinitely, so I don't know what you think
I was part of putting this together in the first place, so I just got to sit back and listen. Back when Cal and Al meeting.
And regrets or something.
Yeah. Back in 2000, I want to say 4 or 5. Those were up pretty close.
There it goes. My opinion is to keep it at 1019-3E for the parking of semi-tractors. I'm sorry to have to do it.
Okay, that's pretty much, Mark, that's pretty much all we had to do was just discuss it.
And Jason, you know, I can give you my contact, you can, if you want to proceed with an application. I mean, you can take the feedback that you got. They can't make a decision tonight.
Yeah,
So-
so I understand that, and I completely understand Kurt's concerns, absolutely. And somebody made a comment, and you made a comment about the oil, or Chuck, you made a comment about the oil, and I completely understand that. I mean, that's why I wanted to discuss things and see, you know, I understand it being a slippery slope, and you have to worry about somebody else coming in and abusing it. I completely understand. You know, the whole idea of it being in my driveway is that it's out of the public traveling area. You know, for me, you know, if I change oil, I'm extremely careful about it because I know I have an asphalt driveway at this point, and I know what that oil will do to the asphalt once the sun gets to it. The asphalt's going to be junk.
Well, just the weight of the truck alone is probably destroying it.
My truck weighs just over 18,000 pounds.
My neighbor's got a 1 ton, and he filled divots again this year.
Yep. Yeah, and for my situation, I used to do asphalt, and my driveway is probably only that thick. Personally, if I had the money, I'd tear it up and put concrete in. It just makes more sense. But I understand all the worries and the concerns, and that's why when I started talking to everybody about it, I'm willing to sit down and try and figure out a way to put it together so that, you know, if somebody comes into town, these are the rules, you know, and if you don't abide by them, you're going to screw it up for everybody. You know, that's the way I see it. I mean,
Yeah, just the consensus and everything is, there's really no way to modify it where somebody's not going to find a gray area or push it.
yeah.
Just because of the limited enforcement we have in town here.
Well, and I guess that's where, you know, the way I see it myself, Mr. Veets, and, you know, there's one other gentleman here in town, I believe his name is Jason Doherty, where it's up to us to, I guess, if it's a privilege for us to have it, it's also kind of our responsibility to help the city enforce it. So, you know, that's the way I see it. In all honesty, if I were to see somebody else come into town with a tractor and see them doing something, I'd make sure that they were very aware that here's what it is. You know, you use it and.
Yeah, and that's why Richard is still allowed to have people there. It's the gray area in town. It's the only place in the city of Montrose you can park anything.
Well, I guess I'll talk with Mark and tell him he talks about some things. I don't know. I just know where I'm at, and I know how careful I am with what I do. I really understand where you guys are coming from. And, you know.
Because once you let one person, then somebody's down the line is going to screw it up. That's how we lost most of the snowmobile trails in the area too. You know, so, well, thank you for your time coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, any unfinished business?
No,
Just a good example where.
Do you have something else on the?
there was just, I don't know if we want to just give them, probably nothing more on the, yeah, I think otherwise we're pretty good.
Okay. All right, next meeting is October 18th. And what I understand, we will have a new city planner at that meeting.
Not planner.
Or city, sorry, city clerk.
It's good news for you,
I was reading two things at once, sorry. But a new city clerk. At this time, I look for a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn at 7:35.
Here, second.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.